On Saturday, November 16th, 6 days before the president's visit, Dallas papers publish his probable route. It will take the president through the downtown streets to the huge Trademark building, where he will address 2,500 luncheon guests. Amid all efforts, police are unaware that a new shipping clerk was hired last month at the nearby Texas Book Depository. His name, Lee Harvey Oswald. Since mid-October, under the assumed name of O.H. Lee, he has lived alone in a cheap bedroom in a rooming house on North Beckley near downtown Dallas. His landlady knows him as a clean, quiet tenant. She little suspects his troubled, shadowy past, or that he lives most weekends with his Russian-born wife and 2 children in an outlying suburb. On Friday, November 22nd, Lee Harvey Oswald rises quietly and boils water for a quick cup of instant coffee. Half an hour later, without awakening anyone, he leaves the silent Payne household. Carrying a long paper-wrapped parcel, he walks the half-block to Wesley Frazier's house for his ride to the book depository. Frazier's sister, Mrs. William Randall, watches him approach this morning.
About 7:10 a.m. in the morning, I was preparing lunches. I looked out the window and saw a man, whom I learned later was Mr. Oswald, crossing the street with a package approximately 2.5 feet long. He proceeded across my carport, and I opened the door to see where he was going and saw him put the package into my brother's car.
Minutes later, he is joined by Frazier.
I went out the back door. Lee was standing just outside the door. We walked to the car. As we were getting in the car, I saw the package, and I said, "What's the package, Lee?" And Lee said, "Curtain rods." And the only comment that was made on the way to work was about the babies and the weather. And I always managed to get some comment out of him about children, because I said he seemed like he's very fond of them. And I asked him, did he have fun playing with the babies? And he says, "Oh yeah," and kind of chuckled to himself.
In Fort Worth this morning, the president jokes with the crowd outside his hotel. Excusing Mrs. Kennedy's absence, he says it takes her longer to organize herself. But, he suggests, the result is worth the wait.
The party now is leaving Dallas Love Field. And, of course, as we say, thousands will be on hand for that motorcade now, which will be downtown Dallas, down Cedar Springs, to Harwood, and on Harwood it'll turn on Main, from which point it'll go all the way down to the courthouse area, which is the end of Main. It'll turn on Houston Street to Elm under the Triple Underpass, after the march where the president talks at approximately 1 o'clock.
Now the assassin braces his weapon. In the cleared streets, only the target is missing. Rounding the end of Main Street, the president's car swings onto Houston toward the open window of the book depository. Beneath it, in a moment, the motorcade will turn toward the underpass. cars race for Parkland Hospital, closely followed by the car in which a Secret Service agent shields the Vice President with his body. At the depository, the motorcade lies shattered by the sudden, unseen blow. As it falters on amid dazed and terrible questions, the nearest available police enter the building. Stopped at gunpoint in the lunchroom, Lee Oswald is immediately cleared as an employee, then quickly escapes the building unnoticed.
At Parkland Hospital, this is Bob Huffaker for KRLD. The First Lady is in the emergency room with the President, and the crowd outside is quiet and waiting for some word of the condition of the President.
Outside Parkland, in terrible helplessness, people wait. While in the hospital, doctors fight a battle already lost. At 1 o'clock, Friday, November 22nd, John Fitzgerald Kennedy is dead. At 1:33 p.m., rumor and fear become fact. The President's death is officially confirmed. "34 years old, and 1 hour a widow. Mrs. Kennedy leaves the hospital, still in shock, yet incredibly composed. As she returns to Washington with the body of her slain husband, Jacqueline Kennedy also begins her own lonely journey into the proud history of her country. In Dallas Police Headquarters, Lee Oswald is booked for the slaying of Officer Tippit. Tight-lipped, bruised from his battle with his captors, he is led through a gauntlet of newsmen, and the world gets its first look at Lee Harvey Oswald, suspected police killer. But now, from articles in his pockets, police make the startling discovery that this is the missing book depository employee, and immediately send investigators to question his wife. As examination proves his pistol fired the shots killing Tippit, evidence swiftly mounts that he has committed this day not one murder, but two. On the cargo lift, in the glare of lights, the bronze coffin is an incredible, brutal truth. An honor guard moves to carry the coffin to a waiting ambulance. But the longtime aides of the dead president insist on performing this last service themselves. In the pitiless lights, Jacqueline Kennedy appears, an incongruously tragic figure in the pretty pink suit that this morning dazzled Texas crowds. Although a limousine stands by for her, she determinedly remains near her husband for the journey to the Naval Hospital at Bethesda, Maryland. In Dallas, it is 11:20. Under heavy guard, Lee Oswald is being moved from police headquarters to the county jail. Finally, Jack Ruby has made the big time. He has committed murder before an audience of millions. He has mocked law, robbed history of the truth, stained a nation already humbled. For this, it will be said, he expected praise. Rushed to Parkland Hospital, Oswald is carried into the emergency section where President Kennedy died 2 days ago. Once again, as he had with the president, Dr. Malcolm Perry seeks desperately to keep Oswald's heart beating. He almost succeeds. Almost. At 1:07 p.m., Sunday, November 24th, Lee Harvey Oswald is dead. Forever silent, Lee Oswald's guarded corpse is wheeled away. Although condemned by overwhelming evidence, only he might have revealed when and why the fearful crime took shape in his twisted mind. Dark against the classic white block of the Lincoln Memorial, the procession crosses the Potomac into Arlington. Fighter jets for 50 states salute the Commander-in-Chief. And then, Air Force One. Now the mourners depart. Millions of others will come in time ahead, for John Kennedy's bold words often reminded the nation of its most splendid self, and for that, many loved him. He had spoken of great purposes and great ends, and we knew he was again voicing the promises the nation had made to itself long ago, when its own youth had just begun, and everything was possible.